Good evening. It's a pleasure today to be here with all of you because it's raining, it's late, it's Friday. All of us, we are tired. But I think that it's a very, very good moment to be together, to gather all of you for this event that all the curators we organize together with the team of 11th Berlin Biennale in relation with the space and also with the project that where you are placed now, that is the installation, the scene setting installation by Osías Yanov. And also Renata is together with me. And first of all, I would like to give our deep thanks to an institution that also made possible that Osías will be part, and we collaborate with him and with this institution to develop this project together. I would like to thank the DAAD, the institution, also especially to Melanie, that she is here, the director of artistic program, together with Sylvia Ferman. Also, I would like to thank Maltz, that I don't know where he is, he's around, because, you know, Osías came to Berlin, he came to Berlin last January. And of course, the curators, we invite him before, but it was a very nice coincidence, by chance. He got this grant that the AD, during the many years, they are developing this opportunity to give space, time, resources to many artists, not only from Latin America, also from Asia, Africa, Middle East, etc. Thank you very much, Melanie, because you know all the work that you are developing during many, many years with your institution. It helps not only the artists, also the institutions like Berlin Biennale to do possibilities, you know, to think that the projects could happen at the end. Also, as you may know, the AD is going to be the place, one of the venues, as the same of the next part of the Biennale, as the same time that this space to Exrota Print together with Cabe and Gropius Bau. So after the acknowledgement, I would like to give the word to my colleague, the co-curator Renata Cervetto, who she's going to read a text that Osías give to her. She will start to read the famous tale, but a very important female writer from Brazil. The Latin American people that are here, even the Brazilians, will know perfectly, but we don't know if the European people, or not European, you are familiar with the work and text by Clarice Lispector. She's a very important figure. She passed away on the 70s, but she wrote this very nice tale that it calls The Egg and the Chicken in 1964. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. If you want, you can see the text has some marks on it. So we will be reading according to these marks, and you can listen and also follow the text. The Egg and the Chicken. In the morning, the egg is lying on the kitchen table. I see the egg at a single glance. I immediately perceive that I cannot be simply seeing an egg. Seeing an egg is always in the present. No sooner do I see the egg than I have seen an egg, the same egg which has existed for 3,000 years. The very instant an egg is seen, it becomes the memory of an egg. The only person to see an egg is someone who has seen it before. Like a man who, in order to understand the present, must have had a past. Upon seeing the egg, it is already too late. An egg seen is an egg lost. A vision that passes like a sudden flash of lightning. To see the egg is the promise of being able to see the egg again one day. A brief glance which cannot be divided. Does thought intervene? No, there is no thought. There is only the egg. Vision is the essential faculty, and once used, I shall cast it aside. I shall remain without the egg. The egg has no itself. Individually, it does not exist. It is impossible actually to see the egg.
The egg
is supravisible just as there are supersonic sounds the ear can no longer hear. No one is capable of seeing the egg. Can the dog see the egg? Only machines can see the egg. The windlass sees the egg. In ancient times, an egg settled on my shoulder. Nor can anyone feel love for the egg. My love for the egg is suprasensitive, and I have no way of knowing that I feel this love. One is unaware of loving the egg. In ancient times, I was the depository of the egg, and I walked on tiptoe in order not to disturb the egg's silence. When I died, they carefully removed the egg inside me. It was still alive. Just as we ignore the world because it is obvious, so we fail to see the egg because it too is so obvious. Does the egg no longer exist? It exists at this moment. Egg, you are perfect. You are white. To you I dedicate this beginning. To you I dedicate this first moment. To the egg I dedicate the Chinese nation. The egg is something in suspense. It has never settled. When it comes to rest, it is not the egg that has come to rest. A surface has formed beneath the egg. I vaguely glance at the egg in the kitchen in order not to break it. I take the greatest care not to understand it. It cannot be understood, and I know that if I were to understand the egg, it could only be in error. To understand is proof of error. Never to think about the egg is one way of having seen it. Could it be that I know about the egg? Of course I know about it. Like this. I exist, therefore I know. What I don't know about the egg is what really matters. What I do not know about the eggs gives me the egg itself. The moon is inhabited by eggs. The egg is an exteriorization. To have a shell is an act of giving. The egg exposes the kitchen. It transformed the table into a slanting plane. The egg exposes everything. Anyone who phantoms the egg, who can penetrate the egg's surface, is seeking something else. That person is suffering from hunger. The egg is the kitchen soul, the awkward chicken, the stable egg, the startled chicken, the placid egg. Like a missile suspended in mid-air. For the egg is an egg in space. An egg against a blue background. Egg. I love you like something that does not even know it loves another thing.
I love you.
I do not touch it. It is the aura of my fingers that sees the egg. I do not touch it, but to devote myself to the vision of the egg would be to renounce my earthly existence, which I continue to need, both yolk and white. Can the egg see me? Is it trying to fathom me? No. The egg only sees me, and it is immune to that painful understanding. The egg has never struggled to be an egg. The egg is a gift. It is invisible to the naked eyes. From egg to egg, one reaches God who is invisible to the naked eye. Perhaps the egg was once a triangle which turned so much in space that it ended up being oval. Is the egg basically a sealed jar? Perhaps the first jar to be modeled by the Etruscans? No. The egg originated from Macedonia. There it was designed, the fruit of the most deliberate spontaneity. On the sands of Macedonia, a mathematician traced it out with a rod in one hand, and then erased it with his bare foot. An egg needs careful handling. That is why the chicken is the egg's disguise. The chicken exists so that the egg may traverse the ages. This is what a mother is for. The egg lives like a fugitive because it is always ahead of its time. It is more than contemporary. It belongs to the future. Meanwhile, the egg will always be revolutionary. It lives inside the chicken so that no may call it white. The egg is really white, but must not be called white. Not because this would harm the egg, which is immune from danger, but those people who state the obvious by describing the egg as white renege onto life. To call something white which is white can destroy humanity. Truth is always in danger of destroying humanity. A man was once accused of being what he was and referred to as that man. They were not lying. He was a man. But we have not recovered since. This is the universal law so that we may go on living. One may say a pretty face, but anyone who says face will die for having exhausted the subject. In time, the egg became the egg of a chicken. It is not. But once adopted, the surname is used. One should say the egg of the chicken. If people simply say egg, the topic is exhausted and the world goes back to being naked. An egg is the most naked thing in existence. Regarding the egg, there is always the danger that we may discover that could be termed beauty. In other words, its utter veracity. The egg's veracity has no semblance of truth. If its beauty were to be discovered, people might try to make it rectangular. The egg is now in danger. It would not become rectangular. Our guarantee is cannot, and that is the egg's greater strength. Its supremacy stems from the greatness of being incapable, which spreads like reluctance. But as I was saying, the egg would not become rectangular, and anyone struggling to make it rectangular would be in danger of losing his own life. And so the egg puts us at risk. Our advantage is that the egg is invisible to the vast majority of people. And as for the initiated conceal the egg as it's a Freemasonry. As for the chicken's body is the clearest attempt to prove that the egg does not exist. Because one looks at the chicken is enough to see that the egg could not possibly exist. And what about the chicken? The egg is the chicken's greatest sacrifice. The egg is the cross the chicken bears in life. The egg is the chicken's unattainable dream. The chicken loves the eggs. She does not know that the egg truly exists. Were she to know she has an egg inside her, would she be saved? Were she to know she has an egg inside her, would she lose her function as a chicken? To be a chicken is the chicken's only chance of surviving mentally. Survival means salvation, for it would appear that the act of living does not exist. Living ends up in death, while the chicken goes on surviving. And to survive is to keep up the struggle against mortal existence. This is what it means to be a chicken. The chicken always looks ill at ease.
Part number 2. The chicken watched the horizon. The chicken watched the horizon. As if she were watching an egg slowly advance from the distant horizon, apart from being a means of transport for the egg. The chicken is stupid and idle and short-sighted. How can the chicken understand herself when she is everything the egg is not? The egg is still that same egg which originated in Macedonia. But the chicken is always recent tragedy. She is continuously being designed anew. Yet no more apt form has been found for the chicken. As my neighborhood answers the telephone, he absently sketched a chicken with his pencil. But nothing can be done for the chicken. It is in her nature to be of no use to herself. And size, her destiny is more important than the chicken herself, and her destiny is the egg. Her private life is not interest to us. The chicken nature recognizes the egg when it is still inside her, not when it is being laid. It has been laid. When the chicken sees the egg, she thinks she is confronting to the impossible. And suddenly I see the egg in the kitchen, and all I see there is food. I do not recognize it. My heart is beating fast. Something is changing inside me. I can no longer see the egg clearly, apart from each individual egg. Apart from the egg on it, the egg no longer exists for me. I can no longer bring myself to believe in an egg. I find it more and more difficult to believe. I am weak and dying. Farewell, I have been looking at an egg for so long that it has hypnotized me and sent me to sleep. The chicken had no desire to sacrifice her life. She who had chosen to be happy. She who had failed to perceive that if she were to spend her life designing the egg inside herself like an illuminated manuscript, she would be doing all that could be expected of her. She remained true to herself. She who thought her father were to cover her precious skin, unaware that those fathers were only intended to lighten her burden while they carried the egg, because the chicken's deep suffering might put the egg at risk. She who thought satisfaction was a gift rather than a ploy to keep her totally distracted until the egg had been formed. She who did not know that I is only one of the words people shut down on a paper when answering the telephone, a mere attempt to find some more convenient form. She who thought that I means to possess a selfness. The chickens in greatest danger of harming the egg are those who pursue a relentless I. Their I is so persistent that they cannot pronounce the word egg. But who knows? Perhaps this is precisely what the egg needs, because if they were not distracted and were to pay closer attention to great light forming inside them, they might disturb the egg. I begin discussing the chicken, yet for some time now I have said nothing about the chicken. I'm still thinking about the egg, only to realize that I don't understand the egg. All I understand is a broken egg, broken in the frying pan. And this is how I indirectly pledge myself to the egg's existence. My sacrifice is to reduce myself to my inner self. I felt consolated my destiny with my joys and sorrows, like those in the convent who swept floors and washed linen, serving without the glory of any higher office. My task is to live my joys and sorrows. Well, hello, thank you for coming here. This is a magazine from Argentina from 1964. The name is Gente. It's similar to people or hola or hello. And I bought this magazine one day because I can't believe it. Both icons in the cover. I can believe it that the Pantera Rosa or Pink Panther is in the same place where with Videla. Videla is a dictatorship who take the government, military government in Argentina in 1966. And for me, really contradiction or not in this moment, what's happened? Why in the same cover is this kind of evil man and this queer icon in my country? And in the same way, to the Pink Panther, sorry, to Videla, is a kind of interview to know who is him. And they say, who saw the military Videla? And then say the man, the military, and talk a lot of things that are in this moment because a good man who want to be a best country, no? 76, yes. Sorry. And in the other hand, you can look another page, and a Pink Panther talk about their plans. And I all the time I can't believe what's happened with both image and both interviews, but never seen that in the same cover appear to the Congress of the Witchcraft. And it's a congress of the first Congress of the Witchcraft in Bogota, in Colombia. And in the same magazine, talk about the different practice of this witchcraft, and in a part talk about Clarice Lispector. And Clarice Lispector has invited to this Congress because the witchcraft says that this text, the chicken and the egg, is witchcraft. Her is not a witch, but this text is a witchcraft. And for me, it's really, really interesting because always I use this text when I start a workshop or when I start a performance. I use a kind of introduction to understand the practice, this text. And for me, a surprise when I saw that all the information that always is in my mind are in the same cover. And just like a strange bonus track, in the same magazine, talk about the Venice Biennale, but not in the same, the 76, and talk about the Joseph Beuys, who is the magazine say that the Joseph Beuys is a stupid man, and all the Biennale is a show. It's really funny. Well. And now, this talk, I'm going to try to talk about my practice, but with the elements that we have here. I try to synthesize some ideas of why this light or why these objects than we can see here, and we try to do a kind of genealogy of my works to become in this exhibition. And for this reason, I have another text, a really short text. is from Virgin Despens. It's an introduction of Paul Preciado text, and say this. Once gathered, your articles draw a currently skyline. I remember all the articles and the moment where they published it. But it is a surprise to discover them from beginning to end. A huge surprise. In them, several stories unfold at the same time, sometimes crisis crossed, in alternative rhythms, in a spiral, as Barthes Gould says, always around the same points, but never at the same height. I like this short text and I talk about we are in a kind of a spiral and talk all the time about the same things, but never in the same height. And I'm going to try to do this in this talk. And now I'm going to start to speak in Spanish. Because when I talk about my work, I need...
we are going to translate the best possible.
Or some kind of Spanish. Acá traje unas imágenes alrededor de unos trabajos recientes de estos últimos 4 años, donde... Perdón.
These are some images that he will show now, recent works for the past 4 years.
Esta exhibición en específico estaba intentando generar un lenguaje tanto lumínico como visual para desarticular las jerarquías entre noviazgo, amistad y familia.
Here he was trying to articulate a sort of language between the lights and also the visual in order to disarticulate a relation between family, friend, and partner relationship, personal relationship. Yeah. This exhibition took place in Buenos Aires, in Nora Fish Gallery.
En esta otra exhibición o proyecto que se realizó en Quito, me invitaron a trabajar en un museo prehispánico junto con Manuela Moscoso, Pablo Lafuente y... se me acaba de ir el nombre. y Manuela Rivadeneira.
In this project, he was invited to work in Quito, in Ecuador, in the Pre-Hispanic Museum. He was invited by Manuela Moscoso, Pablo Lafuente, and Manuela Rivadela.
Este museo era bastante conflictivo su guión, ya que como que hacía caso omiso a de dónde habían salido las piezas. Las piezas habían salido de las 3 familias más ricas de Ecuador y había sido necesario generar una sociedad anónima para que el Estado no las reclame.
This museum has a very sort of conflictual collection because nobody exactly knows where the pieces come from. Apparently they come from 3 rich families and from Ecuador, and they had to sort of create an anonymous society. Anonymous enterprise in order to show them.
Cuando me invitan, un poco como la relación me parece que específica de Buenos Aires con lo que es el arte prehispánico es un poco vacía, ya que como que Buenos Aires en específico no es un espacio donde la cultura prehispánica se haya podido mezclar porque fue completamente eliminada.
For him, this relates to also pre-Hispanic art in Buenos Aires, and in this sense, he thinks that it's like an empty relationship because the pre-Hispanic history in Buenos Aires, but in Argentina, unfortunately, has been completely erased.
Entonces, quizás lo que sí podía hacer me parecía que era poder llevar un poco de mis investigaciones nocturnas hacia el museo.
So he thought a good idea would be to take his night research into the museum.
And voy a mezclar un poco en inglés, ¿está bien? I try to create a kind of nightclub in the middle of the pre-Hispanic works, and use the same device that the museum use, but with different colors and with different replicas and objects that for me we can show in the same levels that the pre-Hispanic pieces. Another thing that for me is really interesting, that when I talk with some people who know really well about these pieces, this vessel in this case, they told me that they never use this vessel during the day. Maybe I use just at night, and they don't understand why these pieces are in the museums, because these pieces is only for some kind of night rituals. And for me, that's a really interesting discover that the idea of some things just can be illuminated with a specific kind of light. Este es otro proyecto en donde trabajé en Londres, en una residencia que se llama Gasworks. Trabajé en relación a los usos contemporáneos de la tecnología era medio un extraterrestre lo que estaba haciendo. Los usos contemporáneos de la tecnología y cómo nos estábamos acercando a la posibilidad de tener un género no binario.
For this project, when he was invited to do a residency in Glasgow, in London, he was trying to use how technology was being developed, and he found it a bit strange in the sense that
alternative of the
yes,
technology in order to complete a society or non-binary society.
yeah.
This is a book.
Maybe we can translate what it says there.
Yes.
Microcosms, 4 millions of years of evolution since our microbians ancestors. Microbians is an invented word even in Spanish. Just have to say.
Algo que siempre me pasa cuando estoy bailando la noche es que tengo la sensación de como que se está gestando ahí unos nuevos tipos de criatura y nuevos tipos de sociabilidad.
A feeling that he has every time he dances at night is that a new sort of shape or form is being born or gested, yeah.
Sí, como algo entre el sudor, los fluidos, el sonido, los químicos, los deseos, la sexualidad, todas esas instancias estarían como tratando de crear un cierto tipo de ser.
Something between the chemics, your own sweat, what is happening around is trying to create a new being.
Pero nunca había pensado mucho en la luz de los nightclubs y me parecía como que este libro que se llama Microcosmos, que lo hizo la esposa y el hijo de Carl Sagan, hablan justamente que no es solamente necesario, mejor dicho, que es necesario no solamente ciertos químicos, cierto calor, cierta estructura, sino también cierta colorimetría para poder crear ciertos organismos.
He says that although he always danced, he never reflected so much specifically about the lightening in nightclubs. And in this book especially, they make reference to how this light is necessary in order to create certain structure. Yeah, no? Yeah. That enables this process. Yeah.
También me gustaba traer como referencia a las instancias de la colorimetría y la generación de estructuras a un artista argentino que se llama Azul Solar. Es bastante conocido a mi criterio, que por sus características hoy en día se lo podría ver de una manera forzosa como el primer artista queer.
Well, here he's bringing another reference from a very...
Because I'm not agree with this opinion.
from a very well-known Argentinian artist from the first half of the 20th century, Jules Solar. Jules Solar was a very important character in, I am saying this, he didn't say this, but just to contextualize, no? Like, because he was a very important character. He was an artist, but he also created a new alphabet. He created an alphabet that was, the Pan-American language that was a mixture between English, Spanish, and Portuguese. And he generally depicted in these very small watercolors many of his dreams, his auras. He did a lot of meditation. And in this sense, Osías is saying that he might be one of the first queer artists. Finish. No, maybe... Maybe just to say that Osías will be doing 2 workshops here in Berlin during the course of his residency. And this will take place in April. They are for free. They have limited capacity. So if you are interested, then you can check the calendar, write us if you want to participate. You don't need to have any experience or whatsoever. So yeah, there you go.
Thank you very much, Osías, for this kind of parcours through your different practices. And I think it was really nice.
The workshop is naked.
No, it's not a naked workshop.
It was other project. You arrived late, Lisetti. You arrived late. But we can arrange something if you want. So it was really nice because I feel that you were through your different aspects and also to understand much better, not only this installation, also your background for the different, ideas with the light, with the elements, with the body of the queer body, also with this idea of the transition. You are always, all of the time, there was this camouflage with this very beautiful video that you show with Maria Lin in Wanju, where these young trans people or drags, they were hanging from the trees and also in their relation with the nature. But I think that it will be very nice that the people, do some questions or comments, or Osías is here, and I think we'll be glad to answer or to talk about different aspects of the installation. The microphone?
No, this is
okay.
I can speak up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was very curious about this project in La Rural, the one where you were using the acupuncture and these tools that you actually built for it. And I just want, I have 2 questions. I would like to know, was it more like a performative thing where I could, as a visitor, not see what had happened, but there was a before and an after this kind of healing session or acupuncture session? And the other question that I have is if you continue to use those tools, because there are so many places everywhere in the world, but we know in Argentina and in Buenos Aires, so many places are so much connected with death and with this kind of necropolitics that it would be interesting for me to know if you still use those tools to try to acupuncture or like heal other spaces.
This project was a public project that the people can saw that I did it, but I continue doing, but not a public way. Maybe with friends in some place. Yeah, I don't know if I respond. Yeah, because I think that it's not necessary to do the things. Maybe if we organize to do in group together, it's an interesting thing to do. But I feel really strange when I did it. No.
She said if he brought these
Needles.
These tools, the kind of acupuncture things here to Berlin.
You say me where we need to put.
Other questions?
Actually, do you want?
Yeah, actually, I'm interested in this piece. I want to know what's the idea behind the long, high line to the sky, or immortality, or what does it mean exactly?
Voy a contestar en español. Voy cambiando de opinión sobre el significado, pero me parecía interesante como que esto lo vengo pensando hace solo un par de días, pero siempre la molestia del formato, como la molestia de estar encuadrado en un formato. Entonces me parecía que sacar de su valor a la cuchara del formato elemento para comer, me parecía volverla un poco loca a la cuchara, me parecía que responde un poco a por qué se convirtieron en estas estructuras.
So I always sort of change my opinion in relation to these sculptures. He is a bit bothered by the actual shape of the spoons, and he thinks that he can sort of take them out of their function and put it a bit crazy, you know, put the spoon in a sort of crazy or dissonant situation.
Y también como una manera, si era posible, de poder sintetizar las experiencias que se fueron realizando en Buenos Aires, que esto también me ha pasado con otros trabajos, que el trabajo corporal deviene en forma. Entonces es una manera de poder, para mí, traer estas esculturas acá, una manera de poder comunicar de manera formal las experiencias que fui haciendo en Buenos Aires, tratando de que sea con la misma potencia.
So this also is a way for him to give a shape to the experiences that took place in Buenos Aires in these workshops, in the sense that many times these shapes come before from a bodily experience. In the video you can also see that the one that is behind you, where the bodies come together and they sort of spoon with each other, no? Yeah, and this is a way for him to share what he has been doing for the past months.
And also I will say that some of this experience that he recorded mainly in video, but also he has a big archive for the other workshops, he never shared with us, but I saw some images, and when I saw, for example, this, what it reminded me of two different positions or idea with the workshop that he was developing with different groups. So it's a way, he said, like the workshop takes shape, you know, in a very abstract way, or a kind of homage to this, to create a new body in relation with the body, with the memory of the other bodies that they were together doing these actions, no? Kind of.
I like to move from the sculptures because it's something we rarely discuss, I think, like when we also one-to-one in your work. Also, looking at the sculpture that then in La Rural, there are always these like sort of abstract forms and codes. It's almost like an alien language that you are using in particular sculptures. Also with the performances in Malba, there are also like these forms repeating. What do they mean for you, or have you really like kind of thought about that, this symbology in your work that is evolving, that I realize like in your work? And maybe also a little bit continuing on the idea, when you make sculptures, what do they mean for you in your particular practice? And why is metal an element of choice? Why do you always go for metal?
A veces me parece que ciertas instancias de la abstracción son una suerte de password, como una puerta donde poder crear un nuevo lenguaje o transitar una nueva geografía del saber.
So for him, the abstract shapes are a sort of password, like a sort of entrance gate, in order to create a new language.
Como que
Geography of the language.
A geography of the language.
of the knowledge.
of the knowledge.
Como esa, tanto las formas como el lenguaje, esto voy a decir que algo que ya sabemos, pero como que es un lugar en el cual uno se siente encerrado, o sea, la palabra encierra, el formato encierra, y siempre me parece que a veces siento que por eso existe todavía el arte contemporáneo, seguimos creando formas porque seguimos como encerrados en un cierto tipo de lenguaje del cual nunca estamos muy cómodos.
He says that forms and language, this is something that maybe it's obvious, but they tend to close up the ideas. No? The words are closed in one meaning, and that is also why in contemporary art you are constantly trying to break this, right? And to create, disrupt this idea of a certain form or a certain language, that is scripted.
Y acerca del material, del metal,
Seeks the meaning or not. She said that if these shapes, si esas formas, tienen un significado propio.
I can refer again about if these shapes have a meaning or not. I can refer again to Sul Solar. But I think that I need more time to understand, to do my own abecedario. But in this moment, I think that it's important. Don't work alone in constructing an abecedario. I think it's necessary to, sometimes alone and sometimes in group. And the elements, the metal, I love work with this element. I love the idea that something is really hard. You can transform in something soft. But really, I don't know why I prefer. Yeah.
Also, I just want to add that this part of what you are saying of not working alone in this language is something that you can also see here with the glossary that it's outside in this fichero. Many of the words and terms that are there come from a work that he has been doing also with Marie Bardet.
More questions?
There was a guy, an old guy, that played with a spoon also, and he said to him, the spoon is not there. Like, you give also like directions to people who are making part of the project, or it's like more free in the way that everything develops.
Podría explicarlo, es como quizás quizás es más sintético explicarlo en el trabajo con la sal que en el trabajo con las cucharas, pero en sí es bastante sencillo. Hay una primera dirección y después lo demás corre. Se trata de...
So he can explain it more in relation with the salt than with the spoons. There is a first direction, you said?
Sí, hay una primera dirección que es muy sencilla.
First, like an idea that you give, like as a direction that is very simple, and from there you move forward with the group.
Sí, como que las primeras direcciones es...
The first, you say, and then I will not invent for you.
Se propone a los presentes generar cada uno bueno, acá está un poco, se ve un poco, se le propone a los presentes a cada uno hacer un dibujo.
So he proposes to each of the participants to make a drawing.
Mientras tanto se va leyendo un cuento, por ejemplo, del Clarice Lispector.
Meanwhile, there's someone reading a story, for example, this one of Clarice Lispector.
Y luego se le propone al grupo a que cada uno elija qué dibujo lo interpela.
And then he asks to the group to choose one of these drawings that are more interpealing to them.
Y la persona que elige ese dibujo dirige al grupo para generar esa forma.
So the person that chooses certain drawing, he directs the rest of the people, the rest of the group, in order to create this shape with their own bodies, right?
Sí. Entonces cada uno va haciendo exactamente el mismo proceso, pero va haciendo una suerte de palimpsesto de todo lo que viene detrás. Continúa hasta hacer una gran baile.
So all of the participants actually then do the same, but in a sort of a palimpsest, because they take with them the movements that they did before, and this becomes sort of choreography or a big dance. Yeah.
And in this sense, it's not necessary talk a lot or do a lot of direction. It's just to start. Well, Flavio de Carvalho is... I don't know the meaning of alibi. Alibi? It's the alibi of this Biennale. Yes, and I think that is interesting yes, take a line about the idea of the Biennale, the idea of the curators of here, and think and have kind of dialogue between this picture in specific and this back plug spoon. I change all the time why I put this back plug there, because at the beginning I think this because Flavio de Carvalho is too macho and needed something in his ass. But I think that this is a retro idea. And now maybe it's a comment, or is this and I say I like your dress. Do you like my butt plug? Something like this.
Like a dialogue in time, you know.
Also, you have to know that this is the picture. It was on the walls since we did the Bones of the World experience number 1 with one of the 4 experience of Flavio de Carvalho were illustrated in the walls. If you remember, Virginia de Medeiros was having there the book of experience number 2 of Flavio de Carvalho, and there it was the experience number 3, and now we are in experience number 3 that is not referring directly to Flavio, but it was a kind of, memory of the space. So that's why when we proposed to leave the image, Osías was thinking about to include. It was not just his idea to do to use the image of Flavio. It was more like the memory of the space. But on the other hand, I always comment this, that Flavio in the Bones of the World, Os Osos do Mundo, he has a chapter where he talks about the anus and how the societies, you can know more about the different civilizations if you study how this culture is related or take cares about his own anus. Even it's not talking about men or women, it's more about this concept in terms of health, in terms of care, in terms of sexual things. So it's more about, also he talks about the sheet and the papers, or the different hygienic papers in the society. So always Flavio was talking, even if he was a macho man, dressing as a very, I don't want to say the feminine, because he's not a feminine, even if he is with this type of shirt, the mini shirt, and also the mini skirt, and the stockies, but even if he's quite feminicized in that picture, even he was a straight guy, of course, and quite womanizer. But I think it was the idea of Osías to do this homage, or I don't know how to call, with the figure of Flavio de Carvalho, that on the other hand, it's very nice if you have time, you can see the people in the workshops there in Córdoba, right? In Tigre, in the outskirts of Buenos Aires, when one of the guys is putting the spoon butt plug in the ass, and from there he's giving he's feeding other person. So it was part of the aun. It's not an object that is not related with the aun installation or the workshops or the different practices that Osías was doing there.
I want to say thank you to Agustín, Renata, Lisette, and Maria, and Linnea for I'm here and invite me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.